Welcome to Three Witches and a Druid podcast, a Canadian podcast about paganism in today's modern society. And now, Three Witches and a Druid podcast present Shenka.
Almond's daughter, creature of the night, hear her calling, another soul takes flight, death and beauty. To her it's all the same. It doesn't matter when she calls your name. You see life's a game with all your pretty little playthings. The princess, chooser of the slain, hear her calling, no longer in the game. The past is gone now, you won't be back again. You see life's a game with all your pretty little playthings. Darkness flowing, feel the curtains tear, hear her calling, a chill upon the air. Breath upon you. Too late now to beware. Death's a game with all your pretty little playthings.
Hello everybody, and welcome back once again to Three Witches and a Druid, where we sit around talking about our personal lives and personal experiences as pagans, although I don't know how much personal experience I'm wondering any of us may have with this current topic. Anyways, I am Margot.
And I am Maeve.
Gwen.
And I'm Brian. So we're heading into spooky season. This episode should come out in October sometime. And I thought a fun topic will be to discuss hexes, curses, the ethics, how-tos, and why-nots of them. So, as Margot said, do any of us even have any experience in this area?
I do not have any personal experience. I have heard stories of friends' personal experiences.
I kind of assume most of us in this room are pretty anti-curse hex.
Yes,
Yeah.
the threefold law. I'm a old-fashioned girl there. The threefold law, it will come back after you. You will pay a price for it. You will pay a price. Now that you say my mind is twisting, like, can you hex bad things, though? Like, I'm going to hex overeating. Can you do that?
So, like, you want to hex actions?
Yeah, like, can you hex the action?
Or do you hope to hex the person with that action?
No, hex the action. Like, when I want that
Well, the action
entire box of pumpkin spice cookies. Can I hex my want for that?
Oh, I see.
I'm kind
You
of
would
being
take
A box
sarcastic.
of pumpkin spice cookies is not a person or thing.
No. Like, hex me
Were
wanting.
you meaning hexing somebody else into overeating?
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought.
No. I meant put a hex on my want to do that.
No, I don't think that's called a hex. I think that's
Willpower.
willpower.
No, I generally am against them.
You often see in Facebook groups or TikToks, like there was that time where they were all trying to hex the moon and
What the heck? How do you hex the moon?
in social
why?
media. Don't ask.
And
don't be
why?
silly. The best solution to those problems is just don't ask. But yes, they were trying to hex the moon. They were talking about hexing fairies, and a lot of the time I find hexing and cursing comes out of a place of, I don't know if the word ignorance is correct, just not understanding, not knowing what they're doing. They have the intent without the ability to do.
Yes. Or they don't know enough about magic to know how it works.
Yes.
To realize what harm they could be causing.
Yes.
Not just that other person, but certainly themselves. Because what you do comes back to you.
Yeah.
And it can be a very slippery slope.
Yeah.
Very slippery slope to walk.
True. Now, what are your thoughts and opinions here?
Yeah.
The one person who's been quiet so
I was
far.
going to say, yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
She must have a
I'm
bad
going for a
story.
coffee. No, I have a different philosophy. I
Okay.
genuinely do. And it's not going to be popular with the initiated Wiccans. I'm trying to be really diplomatic.
No.
Spit her out.
And that's
This episode has to be more than 5 minutes. So
No,
spit it out.
So no more diplomacy.
You can come back. I do have ways to prevent things, but we'll talk about that
Yeah,
later.
we'll talk. That's the
Well,
last.
and I have a story of being collateral damage to somebody that was hexed. So I have been on the receiving end of something that was a curse that had to be lifted by somebody. And that's a bit of a story. But witchcraft itself, divorced from our neo-pagan religions, was, there was magic done in the highest circles, right? Around Queen Elizabeth, we have all these grimoires and that sort of thing to prove that. But it was also, folk magic is the magic of the people. And they had no power. And they used magic to even the playing field a bit, right? They nudge the odds. They would have charmers. They would have, and really, like, there was charmers that did positive type things, at least, and I'm thinking from a Northern European aspect. And then there was, and mostly British stuff is what I've read. But, witches were the ones that did the Baneflax, right? If this person stole something from you, there would be a hex on them that their crops would fail until you got your tools back or your whatever. We see lots of hexes and curses in the lead tablets in Bath. All sorts of, when they did the excavation, Romans and the local peoples were using them wherever there's written records. We know that a way that people without power tried to even the score used.
Yeah, the cursing. Even, everybody who dug up Tut's tomb was dead in a year or so.
Yeah, there is. We have a history of that.
The last Grand Master of the Templars cursed the King of France, and him and his son and the other Pope were all dead in a year.
And
he
you know
cursed
what?
them all as they were
He had
burning
already
him.
prepaid the price, right? You were saying about consequences. There comes a point in people's lives sometimes where the consequence is worth it, right? And who am I to say or make a pronouncement about that if somebody is coming from a place of such deep inequity?
Yes, yeah, I understand.
hoodoo magic from the States came out of a black slave tradition, replanted here in North America. You go. You do whatever you can to write those, So historically, I see it that way. Currently, if I am going to, for instance, I have a situation, somebody in my family had a marriage that ended badly, and there was abuse, there was violence. They needed to be a peace bond. And that's manifest real world things that you do. You go to the courts, you put a peace bond. She never asked if she wanted me to lay a protection around her and some sort of repelling, some sort of spell that would keep him away from her. I would have done that.
That's a different situation, though.
No, but you're saying you don't do it because there's consequences, but I think you can turn people's actions. I've done mirror spells,
binding spells, things like that. I'm not against that. I'm just, I hate your guts and I want all your hair to fall out. Maybe not that.
Like, do you consider a mirror spell a curse?
Mirror spells.
They do get grouped in that when you're studying.
They do, but when you do a mirror spell, that is will be dependent on the actions of the other person. If that person is causing harm to you, or you need protection from them, or whatever the case might be, the mirror spell, all you do is set that up. And if they behave properly, they're great.
Yeah.
If they don't, well, then that's their ricochet. It's dependent on their actions. It's not, to me, just cursing them because I'm pissed at them. It's for protection, it's for this, it's for that, or to binding, like when there was, I don't know, who was it? It was, there was something going on and someone was causing harm or whatever, and, to bind them not to do harm. But just to, you pissed me off, my neighbor, their dandelions are in my yard and I'm going to hex you. No, I don't go for that.
Yeah.
But if you're doing good and you leave me alone, nothing's going to happen. You're going to go happily on your way. And when I do it, it's like, if you're doing good and you're living your life quietly away from me, I wish you all the best. But if you're going to intrude and cause me harm, then it will be repelled back to you. So you see, that's not, to me, that's acceptable. I know it's a fine line.
No, I agree. But if you pick up a book about curses, they include mirror spells. They include bindings. They include.
Yes.
So, I think there is a place for all of those things. And I think there is a place, if I advocate, perhaps in a legal situation or something, that I would end up, if I advocate for myself or a family member or a friend who has requested that, the effect of that is maybe I help them. But whoever they're in that legal battle with, I'm effectively doing harm to. And I have to be okay with that in my head. And I feel like if I would do something in the manifest world, like stand up and be an ally for somebody, then I will stand up in a spiritual or energetic way and be supportive of them. And I'm prepared to pay that price, whatever that psychic price might be.
Okay, psychic, but by the same token, you may stand up and be their ally, but you're not going to take out a gun and shoot them. That's just supporting them. That's not literally causing harm necessarily to someone else. See where I'm at?
Okay, so not very nice stories about Gwen. I have intruded on somebody physically abusing somebody else, and I hit them.
Okay.
I stood in front and I hit them. That was in my much younger years. Somebody was tormenting people that were younger than we were. I was a teenager. They were tormenting younger people, and I got in between and smacked them. And got lots of offers for dates after that, which really put me off men for a few more years. I was like, what crazy guy.
When I was young and someone was picking on my younger brother or sister, I punched many a person.
So there you go. That is a manifest world curse. You're causing harm to somebody.
To me, that's defensive.
That is still an aggressive act. You could take that person as an ally. You're supposed to take them out of this situation. You're not supposed to hit them.
I guess I'm in big trouble then.
I got into as a property manager in a rough area, I got called into a situation where one of my tenants had been attacked by somebody, like mugged on the way home. And they came in and they were shaken up and they said, I just got mugged. I phoned the police, and then the person that mugged them, that was obviously on something, came onto the property. And the person was really shook up, and I thought, okay, well, I guess I have to go out and confront this person and get him off the property. I don't want this potential serial mugger to be on the property of the many properties that are there and interfering with my tenants. Well, this person, this man was 1.5 feet taller than me and younger and stronger. And so I looked around, grabbed a rock that was about 8 inches, because again, I want to level the playing field. And then I went over and we had a conversation, and he left. So the police finally show up. And they separate us to get our stories. And there's 2 people that were there and witnessed my confrontation as I scared this guy off. And they said, we told them that you threatened them with a rock. And I'm like, what? What? And then, so they come back and they say, do you want to adjust your story?
And you said, no.
Well, I may have on the way out grabbed a rock, but I didn't actually hit anybody with it, you know, but I thought that was a leveling up.
But you know, but that would have been your self-defense. You just didn't go out and hit him. You know, that was in case he came at you. That was self-defense.
Yes.
But even if you would have hit that person, you would have only done it in self-defense.
Yes. But some people could say energetically, magically, they're doing something defensively. They're doing something in self-defense. If I will do it in the manifest world, I have to entertain the possibility that somebody may feel they may not be brave enough to do that in the manifest world. I wasn't really brave enough, or I wouldn't have picked up a rock. They might hide behind the door and send a curse out. I can't judge that.
No, any kind of binding or mirror and all that, I see that as protection magic. Because you're not attacking, you're just setting up a layer of protection for yourself. Mm-hmm. So I suppose it's an extremely fine line.
Yeah.
So if anyone finds Gwen's new strong, independent attitude incredibly attractive, feel free to email 3 Witches and a Druid or 3 TWAAD at gmail.com.
So now we know that if we piss Gwen off, she might rifle us in the head with a rock.
Yeah, so.
You see, I've kept that under wraps for quite some time. You guys knew that story with me and the mugger?
No, I didn't know
I
that.
actually, now that you're saying it, is tinkling in the back of my head.
Oh my gosh.
Because I still live at that property.
Yes. And it's
And
very...
that mugger's still there.
And it's... Well, I cleaned it out. Actually,
You really did.
Yeah.
this particular mugger, the police did catch him further down the road. He did like 9 months for robbery because he had a knife.
Wow.
And see, I needed the rock. I had to even the score. Anyway, so he did like 9 months. I was like, well, I figured they'd,
Slap him on the wrist and
slap him on the wrist and send him on his way. But yeah, because all he got was 2 bus tickets from the guy he mugged.
jeez.
So he mugged somebody, got 2 bus tickets, and the guy struggled out and got out of the way, like he distracted him with the bus tickets, ran into the office because his building was fair distance away. And then we had all these interactions and the police came, etc. Yeah.
You have if you're going to do it in the manifest world, you'll do it in the magical world.
Well, I'm probably more likely to step up and do it in the manifest world. I'm more likely to lay a peace bond or go confront somebody, especially if I'm in protector mode. For myself, I let people walk all over me all the time.
But not for your kids or your grandbabies.
But not for my kids or whatever.
Like
yeah, I definitely don't judge people who, if they don't feel strong enough to stand up against somebody, if they say, I am going to make you so uncomfortable you leave. I don't know. I've been there.
No, you see, I don't see that as hexing, I guess. I guess it's just different points of view.
Yeah.
Different points of view.
When Brian first brought up the subject, I was thinking about, the whole... I'm going to hex my ex-boyfriend because he was an asshole.
And at the store, I'm sure you got requests like that.
Oh, yeah. I always kind of assumed that was one of your
professional
requests.
people always, they often do. And that's not something I'm prepared to be a part of.
No. Although it's really strange. The other day, we had a young woman at the flower shop who was annoyed that none of our roses had thorns on them. Because before we put them out for sale, we de-thorn them all because we don't want a customer poking themselves. And I wasn't serving her. It wasn't until I guess the interaction was over and she left that whoever I was working with was like, this one was really rude. She wanted roses with thorns and she was really rude to me that we didn't have any. And that's exactly what my head
that's
went
exactly
at
where your
first
mind
was.
Yeah.
She wanted it for
Yeah.
something.
Well, it's love and protection and whatever. Yeah.
So, do any of you like have experience placing a hex or a curse on an individual? And if so, what is your sort of go-to? Is it like collect hair, stick pins in a voodoo doll, write a letter, burn a picture?
Ooh, you got a lot of ideas. What about you, Brian? You got
So actually, I'm going to finish this off because this is something Karen and I discuss quite a lot.
Okay.
We have a lot of curses and hexes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can hardly wait. So you do bindings, Maeve.
I have done binding. My biggie is usually a picture in a mirror.
I do mirror spells.
Picture in a
and
mirror.
even in a benign way, in a new home or something, you can put a mirror in certain
Yes.
areas to
Yeah.
just to empower it to send any negative things coming your
Yes, to do it that way. But it has been a very, very long time since I've done something like that. Very, very long time. And usually, and I don't do it simply for spite, or maybe once. But it wasn't a hex. It was, you do good and you will have a good life. You do bad and, well, it was just more of a ricochet thing.
Right.
So I do believe in it for protection, but it's been a very long time since I've done that. Usually for me, it's only a self-defense protection thing, not an attack.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fair.
It's not, I don't, because I don't know, my luck isn't that good. I would get bad karma if I went right out of my way, to do that.
Well, even in, like I say, in the real world, you look for fights, you have a life that's filled with fights, right?
Yes.
Like that magical law of return or whatever, you do see comparisons in real world
Yes.
behaviors and actions.
It's like, I don't want to get into this. I don't want trouble with this.
If
or
I'm not
you.
prepared to pay the price,
You just go on your way and I'll go on my way and you just keep, I'm very big on that.
I wish you well and well away from me.
Yes.
Yes. Well away from me.
So this is a topic Karen and I have discussed a lot. And we have what we call the minor inconvenience list of curses that we have placed on many people over time.
Oh my gosh.
And I had Karen send me some of the best ones we've done. May you burn the roof of your mouth on a reheated piece of pizza. May you please stub your baby toe on each corner twice a day. May you cut the corner of your mouth on a freezy wrapper. Half of the time, your chocolate bars will melt. This is a terrible one and not child friendly. May you lose internet connection just before climax.
Oh, you know what? I take that back. I'll take one thing back. Okay, keep going.
May your next bag of chips be stale and half empty. May you never find French fries in the bottom of your fast food bag.
That's real good. I did one once, and I think we were in Phoenix Coven when my friend of ours had their house broken into. And I did say, we did a little ritual about protection and this and getting this stuff back. And I did say, and may their fingers burn with guilt. And lo and behold, the person who broke in was someone they knew, and they did burn their hand.
You did place a curse on someone.
I did. I forgot about that. So maybe I have made their fingers burn with guilt for stealing. And they did. They burned their hand.
Wow.
So there we are.
Yeah, so we have this huge list of these minor inconvenience curses, and maybe if I can get Karen to sit down and record a bunch.
That would be amazing.
But
That's really cute.
They're often little things that just would annoy you, like,
Step on a piece of Lego.
yeah, may your shoelaces never remain tied. Nothing to bring harm, but just to annoy you enough that you maybe reconsider what the actions you have performed to have this curse or hex placed upon you.
Well, that's kind of cute, actually. That's very cute. But I know someone who was cursed.
Yeah.
She ended up with flesh-eating disease.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And a fancy-ass witch from out in BC had to come and take the curse off her.
Wow.
She had flesh-eating disease. Someone said to her, a friend of hers said, "You've been cursed." you've been hexed, and they couldn't figure out how to get it off, so somebody else had to come and take care of it for
Well,
them.
I don't know if you remember. This is maybe a decade ago or so. Dave and I had the worst run of bad luck, which lasted a couple of years. It was just horrible. And a couple of people said at the beginning, they were like, it's like you're cursed. It's like you're cursed. And I laughed because I'm freaking adorable. Who would curse me, right? It's just...
Well, hold on. We just learned a lot about you in the last little bit. That cuteness clearly is just a facade.
It was just a facade. But Dave, in his role of festival coordinator, and I think some of you will remember this.
I know exactly what
he
you're talking
stood
about.
up to a bully who has bullied the community and interceded on behalf of somebody. And this person was much larger, had martial arts training, all these sorts of things, and authority. And Dave had self-righteous, that righteousness of being there for the right reasons and interceding.
He was correct.
And he was in the right. Yeah, that's what I mean. He was pure emotive. He was there for the right reason, and he put up a block. There was no physicality, but this person who had standing lost standing in the eyes of the community because he was seen for the bully that he was, and Dave didn't back down. This guy was very intimidating to people, and he used his intimidation to get his way. So that had happened, and that was a small thing. It was forgotten, after the little hiccup, it was forgotten by us. It was a small thing, and we thought everything was fine. This person goes away, leaves the area, actually moves away. And anyway, there's just this run of bad luck, run of bad luck, run of bad luck, run of bad luck. And people were saying these things, and we were out money, and Dave was getting hurt all the time. And yeah, we got terrible debt, and it was random and weird with things breaking down for no reason and all these sorts of things. And then there was it's like you're cursed. It's like you're cursed. And, we laugh about it. And then, it just got more and more beaten down as this cycle gets worse and worse. And I'm like, I don't know. So we talked to somebody local and said, I'm so beaten down, and I don't believe anybody would do this to us, but look into it. And they hadn't been at that situation. They weren't part of the community that would have heard this. And they came back with a story and a person and a idea and a type of a whatever. And I said, what can you do? She said, I can take care of it. And I said, please, because we can't get it out of our own way anymore. Like we just, like all the good was sucked out of us, all the energy. In less than a month, we had $15,000 arrive on our doorstep. Nobody had to die for it. It was unintended, sources that we never expected to receive money from, which cleared all of our debts. Dave's shoulder magically healed. There was all these sorts of things that had been whatever, and they were resolved in less than a month. And I was like, again, I didn't think that I was vulnerable to curses. I didn't think I was a target, and I also didn't think I was vulnerable to them. And when that happened, it kind of woke me up a little bit more.
Yes, to always be protecting yourself.
And do it preemptively, do it when things are great, because you never know. You never know what little bit of vindictiveness or envy, and some people may not even be magically trained. This person was. Forceful intent has power.
It does. My 13-year-old daughter accidentally hexed a boy who dumped her. She was 13. She didn't realize all of her energy and this and that.
That's psychic.
The poor kid ended up anemic and sick and everything else. And I figured out, I said, you hexed him. She says, what do you mean? And I said, have you been, she wasn't deliberately doing it, but, very lot of energy and powerful. She had hexed him. I said, you get that energy off him. She says, well, I don't know what to do. She didn't mean to. She didn't even know she was doing it. But she's very powerful psychically and all of that. And he got better after.
After there was that focus.
Yeah, you got to be careful because even the whole what energy you give out affects others. So it just goes round and round and round. So it's very interesting. And we thought we'd have nothing to talk about for this episode.
Yeah, it's good going here.
Well, look, thank you all very much. Please don't hex people.
Yes.
Self-defense only. Thank you very much for joining in. And if you have any questions or comments, you can reach us on our Facebook page. And if you have any suggestions for future shows, and if you'd like to send us in a ghost story, you can send one to... Does it need to be a personal story? We were looking for personal stories. Any little thing, okay.
Creepypasta. Real story.
A real story. Excellent.
Hello, beloved listeners and patrons of Three Witches and a Druid podcast. We would like to take a moment to express our heartfelt gratitude for your unwavering support of our podcast. With your encouragement, we have been able to explore and celebrate the rich and diverse world of paganism and spirituality. We feel blessed to have had the opportunity to share our knowledge and experiences with you. As we continue to grow and evolve, we invite you to join us on this journey and become a Patreon member of our podcast. Your contribution will help us to continue creating quality content and provide you with more exciting episodes filled with wisdom, insights, and a little enchantment. By becoming a Patreon member, you will not only support our mission, but you will also have access to exclusive content, behind-the-scenes goodies, discounts, and much, much more. Together, we can create a thriving and supportive community. To our amazing Patreons who have been there to support us through the past 3 seasons: Sybil, Josie, Catherine, Nicole, Amy Beth, Tomlin, Samantha, Stephanie, Chris, Ramos, Eric, Karen, Highland Horde, Danny, Tania, Sarah, Kay, Linda, and Jennifer. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts for being a part of our Three Witches and a Druid family. Let us continue to inspire and uplift each other, and may our collective energy bring light and love to the world.
Okay, then. And until next time, everybody, merry meet.
Merry heart.
And merry meet again.
Blessed be.
This has been Three Witches and a Druid podcast. Thanks for listening.